I'm Scotty Wade. My tag is Dr. Kirb, and in the Smash Brothers scene, I do a lot of different things. I compete, I run events for Cleveland State, I commentate, I do social media management. If you find something, I pretty much do it. I've been playing Smash Brothers since I was a kid. I got Smash Brothers Brawl when I was a wee little lad, but I really started getting into it in middle school when I would be playing it at lunch with my friends. I got into it competitively because my high school team at Ashland High School had a esports team. So I joined it with a bunch of my friends, and that was a blast, which made me want to compete online around like 2021, 2022. And then towards the end of that, I was able to start going in person to our local colleges brackets, and then eventually start traveling across Ohio, leading to now where I just travel all over the country to compete. I love just the concept of competing, just having my adrenaline run every time I have a really fierce set. But more importantly, I really enjoy seeing so many different types of people, and also just being able to travel to so many different places. Like if I wasn't competing, I couldn't imagine being in Colorado or Kansas, for example. Like I was in Florida. I didn't think I was ever gonna be in Florida. And now I'm just sitting here in Miami doing Topgolf, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm here now, playing a lot of great players, but also just being able to see so many new people and do so many different activities that I would never thought I would be doing. That's what makes me keep coming back. The best part, I would say, is just how strong we are as like a community. Like no matter what happens, we always come together and form really strong events. Whereas compared to other scenes, even just in the Midwest, it's very hard to find that level of community, that level of improvement mindsets that we have. No matter how bad a day is for somebody, we're always there to lift them up. We're always there to help them get better on a better path. And then everyone just gets better alongside of each other. And we don't just treat the game as something we go to, compete at, then go home and sleep. We go to a bracket, and then after the bracket, we do something completely unrelated from Smash Brothers. Last Friday, they did Court Combo, which was a basketball bracket where they just competed 3-on-3 after a local. Ohio is just a slosh pot of many different things, and that's what makes it so great. My mentality, for sure, that's been my biggest problem as a competitor, like throughout my entire tenure, that recently I feel like I've unlocked a whole different pattern in. But for the longest time, I would be super hard on myself as a competitor, whether it was playing at the lunch table in middle school, losing a Ganondorf Ditto, to going in high school, to losing a really close set to a notable school and feeling like it's my fault, to going in college and losing to notable colleges in a last stock situation and feeling like it's my fault. And then even beyond, like in the professional scene, throughout my entire career, I would lose really close sets to like top 100 players and feel like I can't do it. But what made me able to break through that was accepting the fact that failure is a vital part of your successes. With Smash Brothers, like you're gonna have bad sets every now and then, and that's just gonna happen. How you learn from your failures in bracket and taking the time to reflect on a tournament as what made me skyrocket to where I am now, where I'm taking sets off of globally ranked players like it's nothing, having long losers runs in bracket like it's nothing, and just feeling more accomplished with every tournament I go to, even if it's as minute as just going to a local and having fun. If I have an important loss, I actually try not to focus on anything for the first couple of minutes, give myself time to just mentally calm down from all the adrenaline, maybe anxiety, maybe frustration that I have from losing a set like that. And then when I'm like grounded after some box breathing, I like go to my journal and start like writing down what I did wrong and think about, man, I could have played this interaction better, or man, my thinking in this certain situation wasn't up to par with how I wanted it to be. I have so many more tournaments to play, so I can use a loss like that to really give myself the opportunity to become a better player in the long run, which I've done several times. And losing sucks, it's not supposed to feel good, but when you do lose and then later on triumph into an important win, that feels better than just getting the win outright, in my opinion. So like going from organizing tournaments online during the pandemic to organizing tournaments for this college, there's definitely a lot of factors that you may not understand that come into it. So it's like you have to contact so many different people. Like for Helheim, the big tournament we're holding this weekend, I probably contacted over 500 different people to come to this tournament, and we got 200 of those to sign up, and that's pretty great. But beyond just like marketing the tournament to people and making like posts on social media to get people interested in the event, I have to make sure we have like enough setups so the bracket can run efficiently. Like I have my friend Julian Medina, Potato Blue, who's like my co-organizer for this event, and he's running production. What we have to do for production is we have to find the venue, which we have a venue. Then we go test all of the equipment in that venue to ensure that everything's working well. We can put the Nintendo Switches up there so we can stream it, and audio's all good with our speakers. I have to go talk to other people to get volunteers to help run like brackets, like the pools, find commentators that are willing to give their voices out to make the event much more lively, and also find people willing to sell their wares and vend at the event just to make it not only just a Smash Brothers tournament, but a very enjoyable esports event. So people who aren't even interested in Smash Brothers that go to the college can come in, watch the tournament, and feel like Cleveland State Esports is doing something impactful for the local Cleveland community. And even just beyond Helheim, when I'm traveling all over the country to help, it's just all about communication with so many different varieties of people, running a pool as effectively as you can, whether it's like marking people down if they win or lose, marking down how many games they take, and making sure they don't break setups after they lose to a Jigglypuff player. So like stuff like that is what makes tournament organizing. And it gets so much more complicated than just you make a bracket, you run a tournament, the tournament is done. Sometimes like we schedule too much and maybe people play the longest set of Smash Brothers they've ever had in their life and bracket gets delayed. So we have to move some stuff off stream and make bracket catch up a little bit. Like sometimes bracket will go by too fast or too slow, and we just have to adjust the schedule from that. Other times there's like, if we're going on a more of a national scale with Helheim, there's other tournaments of similar scale happening on that same weekend. So where you like market to players that you want to come to your event, they can't commit because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to this tournament in Minneapolis, or I'm going to this tournament in Tokyo that weekend, so I just can't make it. Big thing is just scheduling around so many other events that happen at once. But like when a bracket itself goes on, maybe you have like a stray volunteer that isn't doing their job properly, and you have to like catch up on the fly with somebody else to get them replaced in the moment. Maybe someone on commentary doesn't gender someone properly, they misgender them, and we have to remove them and replace them with a different commentator if they don't want to get better at it. So those are some examples of where tournament organizing can go wrong. But even when it goes wrong, there's always a way for it to go right, and that's pretty great, honestly. I want to retire from the Smash scene knowing that I have made an impact. Through being a competitor, I want to be globally ranked, I want to travel the world. And as a tournament organizer, hosting all these events gives other people the opportunity to have their breakouts, have their storylines made, and just have an opportunity to communicate with people. Like some people use Smash Brothers as their way to get in socially and meet new friends, have people that they consider family. I want to stop playing this game knowing that I've made that impact, and if I can host an event that brings people together year after year, and my competitive skills bring people together to want to improve, to want to become the best they can be so they can outdo me, that's what I want to do. My favorite moment as a competitor, I think when I beat Yeast at Afterburner, that's probably my favorite moment so far, because it was at a major level Smash Brothers tournament, the first time I'd ever made it to a top cut of that bracket. I was surrounded by like so many of my friends and teammates. It was one of the very few times I've gotten emotional playing the game after, 2 minutes before that, seeing the guy take off his shirt to try and beat me. It was really intriguing. I'd have an honorable mention to last weekend when I went to Kansas and played this player named Mr. Ping. And when I was in high school, I sponsored this player to go to events in like 2023, 2024. And then 2 years later, I play him, I'm down 2-0, and then I reverse 3-0 him to win the set. It really made me think, wow, some guy that I never thought I was gonna be better than, that I sponsored and paid to go to events, I just beat them. And then I ended up getting second at the tournament, and I'm like, wow, I'm better than them. Also being 21-0 on Randor, I gotta mention that. People like to assume that esports isn't something athletic in the traditional sense, and I would agree with that. Like, I don't work out my muscles to be good at esports, but it's definitely a type of sport like chess. Like, you don't have to work out for chess, but people think chess is a sport. but you have to work out your mind and you have to work out your like muscle memory, your timing, your precision. It's more athletic than just picking up a controller, playing a game of Smash or playing a game of Fortnite and saying you're an esports player. Being an esports player is taking the time, hours upon hours upon hours, to prepare for your tournament run, practicing with people if you have a struggle with a matchup or struggle with a specific map, and making the opportunities count rather than just picking up a controller, picking up your mouse and keyboard and just playing a video game and calling that esports. Simply playing video games casually is not the same as competing in esports. Getting into the game isn't as hard as people may think. Smash is one of the most accessible games to compete in for esports because, I mean, the game's been around for 8 years at this point, so there's so many videos, so many VODs, so many notes out there on the internet, and so many resources in general to where you could just pick up the game, take like a couple weeks to figure out who you want to play, and then you can go so far with the amount of resources that exist in this game. The Smash scene at its core is a very friendly place. You can ask pretty much anyone regardless of skill for advice, and some may charge for it because they're a coach, and that's valid, but a lot of players across all levels are willing to just give advice to you if you're a kind individual who has morals. Just open yourself up to the opportunities that lay in front of you and just have fun. When it comes to competing in anything, whether it is esports or your traditional sports, don't ever think so materialistically minded. Results and wins are always going to feel great, but you have to utilize those wins and losses in order for you to become the best player you possibly can be. Throughout my time doing all that I have done in Smash, you have to understand that failure is such an important skill with life that if you're able to accept failure for what it is, reflect upon it, and truly learn from it rather than just make excuses, you'll become the best version of yourself and keep becoming the best version of yourself if you follow in that cycle. Because at the end of the day, Smash Brothers can create a community, just like football, just like basketball, just like putt-putt, whatever type of sport you want to think of. Maybe Chinese checkers. Like, there's so many different things you could do in life to create a community, to create a sense of competition and adrenaline. Just have fun, be open to learning, and make the most of every single opportunity you have, whether it's meeting a new person, getting a job, falling in love. I mean, I've seen people fall in love with Smash. People fall in love through sports all the time. So just make the most of everything that comes your way and don't be afraid to fail. Because if you are afraid to fail, you're never going to succeed.